Hello, welcome. Once again, we are back. It is round two of the S7R Racing Toyota GR Cup. I'm your host, Tati, aka E Dirty Tati. I'm joined tonight by a guest commentator, Hovercraft, my teammate on S7R. Hover, say hey to everyone.
Hey guys, as Teddy said, I'm Hovercraft. I've been with the team for a bit, and yeah, for tonight I'm going to be joining Taddy and hopefully giving you some extra insight coming into this race for round two.
Absolutely. I'm always excited to not be alone in the booth. This stream can be found on McNaughty's channel, who is also our producer right now. You'll also see streaming on Rallycross GT, GT45 Gaming, and of course, the Sector 7 Racing channel will also be showing a view of this stream. And the racing this weekend is brought to you by Trails End. We'll talk more about them a little bit later. Today, Today we are on round two, as I already said here, and we're racing at Trial Mountain. Two races here, one in reverse and one the forward way. This is the rest of the schedule as well on the screen that you can see here. 12 rounds total, so we'll have 10 more to go after tonight. I won't read them all, but you can check it out at on Sector 7 Racing's social media channels if you need to see it again. Series rules. Let's talk about the sprint race because that's where we'll go first. So today, the sprint race is going to be in a GR3 car. In GR3 races, the cars are selected by the drivers. There's no required car. However, all tire types are available. However, there is a required tire compound change from one to another. The grid order is actually set. The grid order for the feature race, rather, is actually set by the sprint race. So here the guys want to race as they possibly can, be as good as they can, even though it's the shorter race. P1 through P7 will be reversed in the main race, and P8 through 16, 15 or 16 will remain in the same order that they are in. Our driver lineup for today, and actually, Hover, I'm going to let you read out the pro driver lineup for today, if you will.
Well, yes, for pro drivers today, we're going to have Rider 15, Wid, Shredda, Dezo, Jeffrey GT, S7R Ando, Truth, and Rusty Maggots, Corridor 71, Blader, Stig, Ha-Ayer, Moose, Oak, and Wilcox. Some of these guys may be coming in a little bit later, going into the sprint race, or into the endurance race, but yes, we're going to have a lot of these guys you probably saw last week. Some of these guys were promoted from Lobby 2 last week. And yeah, we'll see how well they'll compete in tonight's race.
See how the new racers do. Let's talk about overall standings after round one. So in first, we've got PhD Jorge Sr., Wid C in second place, Dezo in third, Endo's in fourth behind him, followed by Rusty Maggots, then MMR Moose. Rider 15 sits in 7th, Stig Xander in 8th, Ladler in 9th, Hot Air in 10th place. You got the Truth in 11th, Oak will be in 12th, Jeffrey in 13th, KP Wilcox in 14th, Shredda in 15th, Free in 16th, Corridor in 17th, S7R Greasy in 18th, and S7R Higher in 19th place. 14th through 19th have 0 points yet, so they may move up yet. That's it for our pre-race stuff. No, actually, we got to talk about our sponsor, don't we? Do we have some sponsor info that we can bring up here? Oh, I'm so sorry I missed it. This is our team lineup. So we have 4 teams here. We'll talk only about the 3 pro teams. S7R's Ando's Arsenal is Ando, Wid, Xander, Fuzzy, Dipshy, the Mad Cat. Oh, we have 8 teams. I'm sorry. 4 teams on this card, 4 teams on the next card. We'll start with just these pro teams, though. The Mad Cat, Bell, PhD, Bell, Greasy, S7R Greasy, and S7R Turbo are in Ando's team. For Truth, he's got himself, Rusty Maggots, MMR Moose, Nuke, Sinister, Oak, Arrow, and Sleepy. Hover, do you mind reading Xander's squad up for me?
Of course, yep. The third S7R team is Xander, so Stig, Wilcox, Beard, Higher, and Big J are on reserves, and then Azriel, And then finishing out on this card is FFR Team Black, one of their two teams, with Layler, Corridor, Fuller Bunch, SoCal, Tom the Tech, Boomer Sooner, Boogie, Jogenser, and Progenitor, all reserves.
You know what? I think I was reading these out as pro teams, but that's not how that works. So we'll read all the teams. We're here. Why not? Hover, go ahead with Team Orange, and then I'll finish out the last three.
Of course, yes. The second FFR team will be Ryder, Dez, Lone Wolf Racing, Red Bull GT, Niga Boy, Trone, Living Green, the only reserve on this. And then, of course, we can go on to the second or the next team: Chicken Bang, RWB J Rod, Sheriff, Joey, Chevy, Elvis, Egon, and then Edelon, Palm Tree, and Maz, all as reserves. A good mix between the RWB and the TT team.
Moving on with NVR Team Geneva, we've got Shred, Maverick, Bud, Shredding, Rough and Tough, Smoke'em Holt, rounding out that team. Then the final team we have is NVR Team Redline with Hot Air, Jeffrey, Spree, Rob, Bullbrit, Crow Nation, and Cruello. Oh man, if you guys were here for the last round, let me tell you, Hot Air was on one in those last races. So here are the team standings after round one. S7R and Doe's Arsenal up with 152 points, just ahead of Truth Demons with 151. Shikang Bang, Team RWB with 145 points. The two FFR teams coming together, Black with 138, Orange with 134 points, and then the two NVR teams, NVR Geneva with 117 points, NVR Redline with 115 points. So team championship is coming along nicely. Who are you rooting for, Hover? I can't imagine who you might want to win this.
You know, I don't want to call myself biased, but any of the three S7R teams would be very nice to take the championship at the end. But of course, this is a long series, 12 rounds. We're only with the second, and there are 3 drop rounds for all drivers. So even though we have the scoreboard right now after the first round, it's still a long way to go. There could be a lot of upsets, a lot of twists and turns, and we won't really know who's going to be the championship until the final flag at the end of the season is dropped.
That's right. So much could happen. I'd be very surprised if any of those standings that we just read look the same, even after 3 rounds here. We have up the rules on the sprint race today. We read some of these, but we'll go back over them. We're at Trial Mountain Reverse, so a unique challenge for the drivers today. They're in GR3 cars. They've got 10 minutes of qualifying to run a 14-lap race. The grid order will be fastest first. Start type will be grid start with a false check. Tuning is not allowed except for brake balance and air. Otherwise, balance of performance is on. And the tire requirement for all sprint races, at least with the GR3s, is the racing soft. Hover, do you mind reading our tire wear and moving forward there?
Of course, our tire wear and fuel usage are both at 1 times. Our refuel rate is 12 liters per second. We start at 50 liters though, and then of course we're gonna start the sprint race in the afternoon, and then weather throughout the 2 races are probably going to be random, but of course the time multiplier is going to be at 1.
All right, got it. So time won't be going too much too fast there. I think we're ready to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and let our host know that we can do this.
And of course,
sponsor.
we do want to take a quick moment to thank our sponsor, Trails and Custom Constructions LLC. They have been a partner with us for this series, and we thank them for giving us this opportunity to run alongside them.
Yep, thanks, Trails N. Hey, Nadi, I've got a production issue here. I can't get out of the chat in the lobby. It says that only you can get out of it for me. Thank you. That was interesting. Well, figuring out the intricacies of using a PlayStation for broadcasting races. We should be starting soon, everyone. It's a 10-minute qualifier, which I think around here is worth maybe 2 or 3 flyers. Hover, what do you think?
Yes, roughly, we're probably going to be seeing a lot of the qualifying laps run around the low 150s to mid 150s. I think 3 laps is realistic in terms of hot laps. I think pole, we're going to possibly see a 149 in the GR3s, but of course, time will tell.
Time will tell where the cars are the lightest that they will ever be with fuel rate off during sprint racing or sorry during qualifying rather. So the cars will be super light. They'll have their racing soft tires on that they won't wear out. They can't overheat them after a lap or two, but if they're careful with them, we should see the absolute fastest times that we probably will see all night long in these cars during qualifying. A 149, you say?
I think so. It's going to be a high 149, and I think it's going to be restricted mostly due to whoever can get a good slipstream and how to mitigate the air loss. As you see that the air is currently going against the big straight on the back end, that's going to take off a lot of extra tenths that you would see normally on a normal hot lap.
That's correct because of course we are going backwards today. So yeah, that wind is going to be against them first in the back straight and the no, sorry, the front straight it's going with them, but the back straight, the longest straight, it is going against them like you said. Should help them in the braking for that final turn, but I think that straight is long enough that it'll affect them greatly. So yeah, using the slipstream, maximizing that will definitely help around here, but maybe we won't see a 48. How about that?
Maybe a 48 in the next race, which we will be using GR2's cars.
Yeah, well, definitely a 48 CR2s. I would imagine. It's been a while since I've raced them, but they're so fun and they're so quick. Just really capable machines that strike a great balance between like GR3 racing and going full downforce car, more GR1 or Formula car. I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Yagami trying to make some space for himself there, so he's not looking for what we talked about, which is staying in the slipstream and trying to maximize that or make use of that. He's backed off, coming into the final corner here, but is now up to speed with Mindspree behind him. I think I saw Rusty was up front, followed by Wid, so we'll be seeing the first times from those two. No one else is still in the pits. I think everyone is out here trying to make this happen. Do you have much experience on Trial Mountain backwards?
Not much. The normal way, the counterclockwise way, is far more popular, but what I do know is that some of these corners will have a different mythology when you come across them. Especially in this current configurations, a lot of the slow corners in Sector 1 would be taken at a higher speed if you went the normal way, but considering now you're approaching them with such lower speed, you're going to be fighting more for rear end traction than front end grip. And I think that's going to be reflected in a lot of these guys' tire wear going into the sprint race.
I see that. Maybe if you're feeling comfortable while these two, when these two set their times, maybe you want to do an onboard lap with one
Of
just to.
course.
Okay, we'll stay with Rusty here, and you can tell the folks what it takes to be fast around Child Mountain backwards, because I sure don't know.
Yep, but with clockwise, you're going to be seeing most likely the front and left tire take the most front. That's just simply how clockwise circuits go.
Yep. Especially with long downhill sweepers like this, that left front's got to be screaming.
Absolutely, but Wade is catching a little bit. Hopefully the dirty air doesn't come into his lap time. It doesn't seem to affect him much.
No, it hasn't. So here's Rusty crossing the line for the first time. He drops a 150.9. Take it from here. Call out his lap here.
Yep, the 159. If we go further down, it looks like Spree is at 150.4. Let's see who's the next.
Yeah, I was asking you to take us through Rusty's lap, which he's just abandoned, actually. He's just abandoned that lap. Yep, let Wid get in front of him there. So not sure what happened to him. I didn't notice that he messed up particularly bad coming out of the chicane, but that was weird. Oh. You know what? Maybe you can call out a lap when we're actually in the race. Let's check out some of the times that people have set. Yagami goes purple with a 150 flat. Wid just behind them with also a 150 flat, but 150.067. A mindful place is in the pit, so not sure what's going on with that. She took a reset for some reason, so we'll go to Rhymes 3, who's in fourth place with a 150.4. Big's got a 150.8. Rusty 150.9. So top seven all within a second of one another. And you got Moose with a 151.2 in eighth place. The Truth with a 151.522. Those two would definitely want to improve in the next lap here. Corridor with a 152 flat. Shred has a 158.6. Sounds like he had a bad lap. Ando, no lap time just yet. And then Some Identity also no lap time set. So some folks gonna take it to the last minute here, I guess, before they actually set their laps. Yagami doesn't have much breathing room from Wid there, does he?
No, he doesn't.
Oh, and as we said that, Wid takes that away from him. He goes purple by 0.3 there with a 149.7. So we got that on the second flyer. Third flyer?
Yep, the second hot runs, we're already seeing 49s. I want to know how many will be able to enter the 49s. Of course, different car capabilities up and down the grid. Everyone is allowed to choose their own Group 3 car before the start of the season. But that's going to play quite a lot into here. The top speed is arguably the most important statistic for the cars in this sprint race.
You know, this track does such a good job of having a mix of high speed corners, but then you really need grip. But I think you're right. I think just the length of that back straight right there really makes it where this is a straight line speed track. And if your car does that better than anything else, that's kind of that's just what you're gonna have to struggle through there.
Absolutely, but of course, you know, a lot of these corners, as you said, a lot of them are high speed, but there is, you know, this first chicane after the start-finish line. That's probably going to be a hot spot for overtaking.
That first chicane, absolutely. I think, you know, there's not a lot of easy spots to pass around here, even going forward, I think, but the chicane definitely will see some surprise, some lunges into turn one for sure. I mean, heck, we see them when it's the other way around and it's the penultimate corner, right?
Absolutely. You know, it's just trying to do everything you can to conserve your spot, especially at the start, right? If you're not going forward, there's a high risk you're going to go backwards. That's just simply how it is, especially at this top of a level. Everyone is going to be abusing every little inch of space that they can. As I say that, Yagami is doing a 49.8. That's an improvement of 1/10, but still 1/10 behind of Wid with a 49.7.
That's right. Wid didn't hit that 49.7 again. Actually, he went much worse in his fourth lap, but he's got one more chance here. Maybe he slowed down on purpose to cool those tires down. I think usually by the time you get to like your third flyer around here or second flyer, you're looking at those tires getting pretty heated. Anyone else in the 49s yet? Not that I can see. A mindful place says he's at the third, even though he hasn't set a time yet. So that's interesting. Better get to it. Smattering of 150s.
I think the pace that we're seeing here in qualifying is going to be very reflective of what we're going to see in the race. Of course, you know, everyone is going to manage their tires a little bit differently, just considering what the different cars. But do you think fuel is going to be a factor going into the sprint race?
Into the sprint race, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's 14 laps. If you're going to use fuel anywhere, it's definitely going to be here, you know, screaming up against the red light, the rev limiter rather, in this back straight. But I think everyone will be okay. I didn't do any testing myself to know that. This is just a feeling, just based off what I know. I think fuel use is at what, 1x for the sprint, if I'm not mistaken. That's what we had, right?
Yep, it's 1x.
Start
at 50 though.
Oh,
Yep.
start at 50. That's 14 laps. It's a long pit lane too. It's definitely worth fuel saving if you can avoid having to take a splash to come in. But
Absolutely. I think
refuel being at 12 liters is pretty fast. So it's really just the
absolutely.
pit delta that's the problem.
I personally don't think we'll come across any cars that needs to jump into the pits for a refuel. Even if there is a car that is, more demanding on the fuel for the 14 laps, a lot of these guys are very well experienced in league racing. This For most of these guys, this isn't their first rodeo. They've definitely had to handle cars in really tough conditions. They've had to extend their stints. They've had to save their fuel. So even if there is a car, I'm very confident that every driver here is capable of fuel saving till the end of the 14 laps, especially with it only being at one-time usage.
You're right. We're looking at a pro field here, basically split one for this entire league. And yeah, especially if you can stay in the slipstream and just fuel save if necessary, which everyone here should know how to do. Everyone here has gotten to this level because they're great racers. I think you're right. Um, I do see a lot of the more torquey, like straight line cars being used here that can be short shifted for fuel saving. So this is something that people have already given some thought to, obviously.
hmm I
On
see
board
that
with
Witt is about to
refuel.
finish his final lap of the qualifying session.
Yes, and what's he gonna drop?
He did improve.
Yep, 49.7. I thought so. I knew he was just saving those tires for something. What's Yagami gonna do as he comes through some of the final corners here? He's got to go through that tunnel hairpin and then just a couple of S's before he's back on the front straight.
Absolutely. I wasn't able to see his sector 3 time though. I want to know if he is on track to beat Witt.
Just decided not to finish that race, that lap out there. That's okay. He's sits in second place. He's in a good place for this race, and he definitely has a chance to get up in front of Witt if he needs to.
Absolutely, especially with that Mercedes. That Mercedes is very well known for taking launches off the start really well. I
Gotta bring
want
him
to
in.
know if he's going to be abusing that characteristic of the car to get himself into first place, possibly a dive bomb, possibly, squeezing Wid onto the outside in the middle of the chicane, just trying to get that position.
Too, right? Like that is racing, and it's a risk that he's going to take, of course, but I don't think it's some huge risk where he's really risking a crash if he takes a dive and pushes Wid out just a little bit wide of the chicane, just compromises his exit out of the chicane. That's only going to help himself without putting him in a position where he could potentially cause a terrible crash. Let me read out the finishing order here for the qualifying before we start the race. We got Wid, of course, up front, followed by Yagami. A Mindful Place took third place. Spree in fourth place with and some identity behind him. The Truth in sixth. Then Rusty Maggots, and then R.A. Shred in eighth place. In ninth, we've got Stick Xander, so he improves. Moose into 10th place. Corridor takes 11th. Ando will be in 12th, and Jeffrey is in 13th place. Um, Something is weird about the order of this finish here, but Jeffrey disconnected. That's why I got it. So Ando, our lone 51. Everyone else in the 49s are 50. So this is really tight, really close. I expect that, especially at the start, unless there are any issues, I think we're gonna have a big long train of cars here.
Absolutely, but I'm very interested in seeing the split between second and third being almost 7/10. But even if you look right after that, it's very, very jumbled up. Three drivers in the 50.4s, one driver in the 50.6, two drivers in the 50.7s, one in the 50.8, one in the 50.9, two in the 50.9s. So after Yagami, all the drivers, I guess minus Ando, is within 6/10 of one another. And I bet Ando can still run really close to the guys ahead.
Yeah, I think he's probably just not been able to put down a great lap, which is fine. In the race, that's what matters. Race pace is what matters. This is a slipstream race. You can gain positions, and so I think he'd be fine there. Uh,
Absolutely.
All right, looks like we've had a cancellation of the race for some reason. I think maybe we're going to be letting Jeffrey in, perhaps.
Yep,
I, if I recall correctly, Jeffrey had connection issues last week too. You hate to see it continue, or I keep saying last week. It's been 3 weeks now. You hate to see it continue, but he also wasn't able to race in the last round because he disconnected right as the race started. Actually,
that's very unfortunate, but it happens to all these drivers. I hope it doesn't happen again because I know he's
same.
fast. Looking at his qualifying time, he had a 50.8. That got him up the grid fairly nicely before the disconnect. So I think he is able to do something in this series, and I do think, and I am rooting for him.
Yeah,
I just
I want
hope
to root
that
for him. Want to see him make it happen for sure. Especially like you said, he shows some quickness. Sorry to interrupt you there.
no worries, absolutely. But of course, racing is its own entire beast. The racing gods will determine whether Jeffrey will be able to show it because I know he has the ability. It's just going to be a matter of time of when he'll be able to show us the actual results that I know that he's able to achieve.
Right. Exactly. Oh gosh, the racing gods. They are cruel, aren't they? And what's crazy is that like they're cruel to you whether you are a sim racer or a real life racer. They make no difference. They're like, "Oh, are you racing? Let me mess some stuff up for you real quick."
The
They don't
racing
have
gods has a very strange ability of interfering with one driver's life in all aspects.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And yet here we are. Give our we give our time to them. We give our dedication to them. We love this. We love racing. I know I do. I would imagine that you do as well, Hover.
I hope I do, considering I'm part of this team and commenting with you. Of course, this is a very fun opportunity to not just be someone in a car competing with these guys, but instead of taking it in a third perspective, right? I've never
Yeah,
done something like this, and yeah, I'm very, very happy to have this opportunity to commentate with alongside you, and I hope that we have a good two races now.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm sure that we will have a great two races. Obviously, don't take this as an opportunity to retire. We still want to see you on track. So think about it. You know, I want to. Can we bring up? I can't remember who this is in this moment. I just had it in my head. But this driver here who has taken a mindful place. Thank you. I wanted to say a peaceful window. Jesus. A mindful place has taken the Beetle GR3, which I don't know if you remember. It's had a couple of moments where it was like the meta car for daily races, like a couple of times in GT Sport, and I don't know that it's had a moment in GT7 yet. I can't remember, but this little thing is pretty fun to drive, and I realize it's been a long time since I've got behind the wheel of it. I'm happy to see one out.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of a lot of these drivers. As much as there is a meta in the cars right now, these drivers are so capable that they can ring any car around this track and keep it at pace. And I think it is a bold decision by Mindful to bring the Beetle into, especially this rank of caliber of, really good drivers. But to see him get into third in qualifying already in his
Right?
first race, because I don't think he raced the first round, correct?
I don't believe so, no.
All right, well, now we're going to see if he can keep that third to the end of the sprint race. 14 laps around Trial Mountain Reverse. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Drivers are starting to get on track just to warm themselves up, but the race is officially starting now. It is a standing start. As we said, false starts are penalized, and what that means is that you've got to keep your foot on the brake or the e-brake on until the lights turn green. So the cars lined up, line astern, Wid and Yagami in the front row. Red lights are up. Green, green, green. Let's go racing. I feel like I saw a false start there, and I did see a false start. Is that back there? That is, I don't know why I went the long way. That is Zig in 13th place. He false started and got paused at the start there, but in the turn one, with the big launch, he was protected because Yagami was under attack. There's identity. There's mindful place. That's second and third. There's truth. Yagami is all the way back in sixth place. He got mugged. Maybe he also had a false start. It felt weird. I don't know if we got a replay. I didn't actually ask for one of that start. Oh, we did. We did not.
I did see
Well,
an eye on that. I think Yagami just accidentally didn't put into gear correctly. He didn't go ghosted, which is what normally happens when you
right.
trip the false start. But he did go very slow off the line. So I'm wondering if he just simply put it into second gear incorrectly. Maybe he had wheel spin at the beginning.
Right.
But I
Either
do
way.
know that it wasn't a ghost. He did not trip the start.
Got it. Ah, man. Either way, a really bad start for him. Mindful fighting for his life with Shred right behind him. This is a whole gaggle of cars trying to be in the same space. Obviously, they can't all fit together, so they're gonna have to get into line sooner than later. Yagami still trying to make sure he doesn't lose any more positions. Fighting himself, fighting for sixth place. Even this mid pack already starting to form and already starting to get a little bit. Elbows out, not aggressive, just elbows out, just trying to make sure they make space for themselves around the track. But I think we've settled in now as we finish up lap 1 of 14 around this place. What is happening there?
2 cars went into the pit stops, oddly. Or no, 1 car did.
Jeffrey into the pits for sure. I'm not quite sure I understand what happened there. I think maybe whoever was behind him was trying to get a slipstream and all right, we got a replay here. This is from Chase Cam with Jeffrey, and who's that behind? That's Spree behind. Yeah, I think Spree maybe was just looking for a slipstream. Jeffrey going slower. You heard him let off the gas there. Spree maybe not expecting that. Just followed him and realized, oh, this guy's going into the pits. It's not what I want. And yeah, that was strange happening there. Huh.
Absolutely, but just to cover a little bit of action, Yagami up to 5th. He, Truth, and Shredda went 3 wide going into the chicane. I couldn't tell who went off the track, but now currently Truth and Yagami going side by side, going onto the corner. But Yagami gets fully ahead. Truth in the slipstream. We will see a move. No, everyone stays comfortable. Single file ahead.
Yeah, single file ahead for everyone. I think that's Rusty at the very back of that line there. No, sorry, that's Spree at the very back of that line there. But managing to take that corner very nicely and neatly, even with all that dirty air ahead. Yagami gonna make his way back up to second? You think? He's got pace, but he's got to find clear air, right? He can't keep fighting the guys behind him. He is starting to put a little bit of gap on the Truth, though.
He is. That Truth does get a 1-second penalty, though.
Yes, he does. I think I saw when he cut that corner. Very easy to do, and that's unfortunate. That's going to take him out of the slipstream line. He'll lose a ton of positions there because everyone behind him is still pretty close behind, and he's going to be off throttle for an entire second. That's not what you want. Absolutely not. Just the last thing that you want there. Is that a Ferrari horse, the Cavallino Rampante on Shred's car there? No, that is the Moose. That is the Prancing Moose. So, RA, Shred. Okay, got it. I wasn't sure what was going on with his Aston Martin livery there.
No worries. You see, Truth with a 1-second penalty, it's gonna drop him a lot down the pack. But if I were in his position, my goal is to still remain in the slipstream of at least 1 car. He already knows that he's going to drop a lot of positions, but does he keep the momentum going onto this back straight? The slipstream is so important.
He should be able to pick some up here from Moose if he doesn't fight. Maybe even Spree. Yep, Spree got in front of him, but so does Moose. So he's able to get back in the line there. Still loses a couple of positions. Loses 4 positions, actually, from 5th down to 9th place, but he's not lost track of the pack. So there's still hope for him yet. Working lap 3 of 14 here. I want to go up front because Wid, last I checked, had a 1.5 seconds on Ensum. Now it's 2.3 seconds. Wid, sheesh. Out of here.
Absolutely flying.
Wow, making that Aston work for him. I have not seen this many Astons on track at the same time in a while. Granted, I don't know if that's a meta car in the daily races or anything. I don't really do them, but it's nice to see it getting some shine here. It's a good looking car.
Absolutely. Moose seems to have passed Spree for 7th place going into the chicane.
Well done to Moose there. Yagami is up to 4th now, and he is knocking on Mindful Place's door for 3rd. So Yagami making his way back up the order after losing so many positions at the start. I think he was down to 6th place at one point. Now literally all over the back of Mindful Place, sniffing at his diffuser, quite frankly, into some of these corners. I want to see how he makes this pass. Maybe the end of this straight here.
Most likely. The most important thing for Yagami right now is try to pass Mindful, but stay as close to Identity ahead as possible, right?
That's right. Don't make it a
There's
fight,
still-
right? Like it's got to be a definitive pass where you're not swapping back and forth and touching doors and stuff. You got to go catch the car in front of you.
Absolutely, and Yagami knows he has the pace to match Wid, so every second that he loses trying to overtake these cars is going to be a hell of a job for him to try to regain it. He passed his Mindful right now. Now he's up into 3rd, 2 seconds away from Identity. Let's see if he can catch it up and pass him cleanly to try to mount a comeback onto Wid.
It's a very, very clean pass on Mindful. Made it early. Didn't try to play games. Didn't try like a little bump draft and see if he could get him in the brakes. Just went ahead and sailed on past him. That's the way to do it. Just as little friction as possible. Because yeah, they're 2nd place and it's there for the taking. While I still have fresh tires. Really.
This is definitely the time to push right now.
It is. I'm going to see what's going on with the rest of this pack here. Shred and Maggots going at it. Twin cars. Maggots pulls off to the side of Shred. He's going to try to go around the outside in the chicane here, and he can make it happen. Shred can defend from the inside there. Maybe not give him much space on the outside, and he doesn't. Rusty looking to get a better line, a better exit out of the chicane, but that lets Shred keep his position. Rusty, though, definitely showing the nose, showing him I'm here. I'd like to get past, please, if at all possible. We'll keep an eye on that. What's going on behind them? Dig leads Truth, who's back up into 8th place, so he did get one position over Corridor. He's a little far from Stig, but still within Slipstream if he can keep up with them, and maybe they can work together being teammates. 2 S7R guys, what do you think?
Absolutely. I think the strategy right now in the moment is Truth and Stig work together, bump each other down the straights, get away from Corridor, try to close that gap up to Rusty, do a 3-team, a 3-team driver train, and try to catch up and pass Shredder. Right now, Truth and Stig know, they are teammates. While they aren't teammates in the series, they are teammates, outside the series, so they're gonna play nice. They probably have that, how do you call it? Psychokinetic connection. They've done this scenario a million times. They know the game plan. It's just a matter of can they actually execute it well. It's very difficult to do a bump drafting in a high pressure scenario right now, because they know if they mess up the bump draft, if they bump each other a little bit too late into the straight right before a corner, that's going to put everyone out of sync. It's going to possibly lead to one of them losing positions. It's a high risk, high reward scenario right now, going onto the main straight.
It is, and for Truth, the risk here is not losing it, trying to keep up with Stig in these S's, in these dirty turns. He has gained a little bit of time, but obviously he's not finding it easy to shake Corridor either. Corridor staying right there with him, behind Corridor. Spree just a little bit behind them, but not too far either. So it really is going to take working together. I don't think there's any room for Truth and Stig to act out. Not right now, at least. Ando
Definitely not.
in 11th place, 2.5 behind this group here. I'm sure he wishes he could be up there with them instead of racing by himself right now.
Yep, and then, we see going back to Rusty in 6 and Shredder going onto the back straight. We'll see if the slipstream is enough for Rusty to go ahead, finish the move out. Staying close, staying close. Rusty wants to wait probably to the last moment to try and make a move. He goes for the inside, side by side, equal. Rusty breaks a little bit later, takes control of the corner, makes the move for fifth, but Shredder still is there. Rusty cuts him off a little bit, makes sure that he knows that he is going to fight for this position. And yes, it looks like Rusty does take full ownership of fifth place. Doesn't mean Shredder's out of this just yet, but Rusty does seem to be matching Shredder's pace at the moment.
Yep, I think that is pass made. Shred is going to hang out a little bit behind him here, but yeah, I think the pace is similar between the two of them. We'll know for sure now that Rusty's up front. Let's see if Shred can keep up with him. Behind them, this situation still going. The Shoots all the way right up to Stig Xander now. Corridor still with them. Free has fallen off even further. It's 1.1 second gap as they get onto the front straight. Ando also a little bit further away at 1.7 second gap, and Moose is just nowhere in 12th place. Got 9.5 seconds to Ando, got 13.6 seconds to the car behind him. That's Jeffrey. So Moose not having a great time in this race. And then Jeffrey, who we saw pit earlier with no real explanation. I don't see that he's taking any fuel over anyone, no fresh tires. They're not necessary for this race. So I'm not sure what happened with that pit stop. No real explanation. Maybe he needed a bathroom break. I don't know.
Maybe. The only idea I could have is possibly damage, but I'm not quite sure if damage is even on heavy.
You know, that's a good question, and maybe McNaughty can answer that for us because I can't remember in this moment. But is it McNaughty? Okay, got it. So the theory, I'm not sure if anyone could hear McNaughty there, but the theory is that Jeffrey was spinning and Free didn't leave him any room to not pit, basically, to get back on the track there. So that's very interesting if that's what happened. Of course, Yagami into second place did make that pass on Instant Identity, and man, what a pass it was. 1.7 seconds up the road now. Got 4.4 seconds to catch Wid. So a lot of work to do. We're looking at his last couple of laps. He's done a 150.3 to 150.5. Lap before that was his personal best at a 149.9, which he hasn't gotten close to since. Maybe catch that again. That might have been a lap where he had some slipstream from Ensum there. Meanwhile, Wid has done a 150.6. He's dropped the fastest lap, the 149.9, then a 150.3. You got another 149 back and forth, and that's with no slipstream. So on most recent pace, Wid is doing better than Yagami. But Yagami now has clear air, and maybe we can make something happen.
Yep. Going down a little bit on the grid, I noticed that Truth took the position from Stig for 7th. All of these 4 cars are still in a train. Truth, Stig, Cordo, Spree in that order, with Ando a little bit behind, just a 2nd and a 10th off, going onto the back straight.
Okay, so he's gotten a little bit closer. I mean, Spree obviously is closer as well, but maybe that pass between Truth and Xander wasn't as smooth as it could have been. Maybe a mistake from Xander there, because that gap is definitely closed up between all the cars that were behind them. And Truth actually putting a little bit of a gap on Stig there. So Stig going to want to hang on to his teammate, see if he can make anything happen. Ahead of them. Go ahead.
What I've noticed is in this train, Stig is struggling a little bit with his front left tire. If you go onto him, you're going to see that his front left is almost at 50%, but the cars around him have it way better. I wonder if Stig went a little bit too hard, a little bit too early, trying to, conserve his position. This is causing him to lose time to Truth, despite him looking very strong at the beginning.
Free's in the same boat with that front left there, but you're right. Everybody else's front left tire actually looks remarkably better there. I'm actually surprised that Free's left looks like that, being a mid-engine car. You'd think that it'd be a little bit easier on that front left than Stig's car, which got, I believe, a giant V10 up front. Well, I think it's V10, isn't it?
Yep, it could be due to a multitude of factors. I do know brake balance and custom aero is allowed, so maybe, everyone is changing their setups to, in an attempt to catch time. They didn't think about the tire wear, but of course, driving style is always a factor. These drivers could be, chasing their opponent so hard and, jerking the steering wheel so aggressively that it's causing these front lefts to die on some of these cars.
Could be in corridor looking real racy behind Stig right now. He's definitely wants to get in front of him. I just saw him right up under his wing in that last corner there before the straight. That Aston Martin V10 is incredibly mighty though, so even in the slip corridor, not getting that much closer, it's gonna have to be in a corner like this, in one of these right-handed corners where Stig's tire is gonna suffer. Corridor actually gonna decide to make that move now, or at least get alongside him, throw him off his line, see if he can make it later. Nothing coming of that, but good racing here, incredible racing as we're on board with Corridor watching this happen. Oh my gosh, I thought they were gonna catch right there. Wow, that was scary. Zig taking a much wider line through that, of course. Again, gotta lean on that front left, and it's pretty much gone. Corridor should be able to get to this corner a little bit better, maybe get a better exit, not so much. He had to stay off the throttle there while he was in the grass, and sure enough, Spree coming up on him now. Spree, no bump draft. Oh, why not be my friend here, Spree? Spree decides now I'm gonna go ahead and take that. Thank you, I appreciate you. So Corridor
Clean
actually
move into the first apex.
very clean move. Yep. Corridor where they lost position there. Would you have taken the position there, or would you have maybe bump drafted him and said, "Hey, come on, buddy, let's do this"?
No, especially, of course, Spree will never know what the tire conditions on the cars around him will look like. But if I were
Sure.
in that position, especially with only 4 laps to go, this is the time to really, risk every single move that you can. You want to solidify it. You have the ability to catch Corridor in a spot where he had no momentum into that corner. You didn't know if you would ever get that opportunity again. So yes, making that move right there and then is definitely the play. Now he is right outside of slipstream of Stig. This is a great opportunity for him to try to solidify 1 or 2 more positions. We'll see what he can do by the end of the race.
I think doing that put him in a better place, especially because you're right, he doesn't know this, but if he hadn't made that move here, he's just going to continue to fall further and further on the back foot there because he does have a worse front left than Corridor for sure. Yagami's not been able to do anything about Wiz. He's matched him for pace. He's dropped his own 49.7 there, gone purple, the absolute fastest lap in the race, but he's still 4.2, 4.4 seconds behind Wid. So Wid answering. Mindful place in fourth place with a penalty there, a half-second penalty on Ensom Identity. So he's going to lose out on that battle and perhaps come into Rusty Maggot's clutches. So Rusty's 3.3 seconds behind him, so he won't pass him or anything like that, but those half-second penalties are actually worth more like a second, second and a half, depending on where they happen.
Yep, it
For
should
the
be right outside of the corner going onto the back straight. He is very close to identity regardless.
That's right. He's going to be very vulnerable with that being one of the fastest parts of the track and having to slow down. Not going to be helpful. Coming back to our battle that we had going here, Spree has not only made that pass on Corridor, but he's made it stick, and he's actually running really well in comparison to Corridor. Corridor's front left now starting to look pretty bad, not as bad as Spree's, but not great either. Corridor is actually in trouble with Ando, it looks like. Ando all over the back of him. He's been conservative. I think if he's got something to pull out, now's the time to do it. He's done a good job with his tires, but he's got to make
Absolutely.
something happen.
Stuck right behind the slipstream. I want to see if he's going to try to make a move here. This is the closing lap, so if you have a move, you got to try for it. Doesn't stay right behind going onto the long right-hander, but he does get a better exit. Will he go for the inside? He will, but backs out just enough. Gives the space to Corridor. Very respectful racing. Still single file going onto the third sector. Corridor does go a little bit long but he goes onto the grass. Now Ando on the outside, going into the tunnel. He completes the move right around the outside. Amazing stuff.
Amazing stuff. It's very slippery outside on the outside line there in that tunnel, and there is room. There are two lanes, but if you get into that third lane, you're getting into sliding into the wall. So Ando, a good job there. He's got 1.6 seconds to try to make up on Spree. We're starting to see some changes happen, but I think a lot of this race is pretty much set. A lot of separation between drivers now. Truth 2.5 seconds ahead of Stig. Rusty and Shred already showing a lot of separation. 2 seconds between them now, 2.2 or so. Mindful, after having taken that penalty, still remains ahead of Rusty. So he lost about a second to Rusty there. 2.5 second gap now. He's 1.6 seconds behind and some identity, who's in third place. But gained massively in that corner. What happened to Ensom there? Really bad exit out of that corner, and now Mindful is catching him. He is squarely in the slipstream, and he's still got a lot of straight to go. He may not get close enough to make a move here, but he'll be close enough to try to stay close and make a move into the back straight. That's what he needed. Whatever just happened to Ensom Identity, a Mindful place needed that so he can get back on this podium after taking that penalty.
Especially so with Identity having such a weak front left at the moment. The tire wear is very noticeable between the two cars. Mindful does probably still have the pace to catch him and to overtake him, but we only have 2 laps left into this race. If he has to push, he has to push right now, and every opportunity that he can take to make the move, he has to take. There's only really 2 real overtaking opportunities, going into turn 1 and then going into the final corner of the back straight. But yeah, Mindful still has the chance to get a podium. It's just going to be a matter of how well can Identity keep control of the car on a dying front left.
Think he's really going to struggle through those right hand sweepers, which are make or break in this lap. Because you have a long right hand sweeper, a downhill one at that, heading into the fastest straight of this track. And if you can't get on the throttle because you're understeering, then you're a sitting duck on that straight. And I think that's what happened to him this last lap around. This time, Mindful is even closer. So Ensom Identity has to see what he can do to get that car turned around, get it facing the right direction so he can just point and squirt that big V8 and get away from the Beetle. We'll see how he does there. He takes it out a bit wide, and yeah, he's losing a ton of time. Not as much time as he was this last time around, but I think Mindful's close enough to make a move at the end of the tunnel here. We're going to find out in just a few seconds.
If he does, he's going to have to brake really late.
Yep.
Doesn't take the opportunity right now.
Nope. Smart. It would have been a huge risk to do it. Maybe worth it for the podium, but he's still got another couple of laps to make it happen. He clearly has pace on the other car, so it really is just a matter of being patient. I don't have to mess stuff up. Ooh, and some getting in the grass there, almost loses the rear end. That's going to give Mindful a chance to get around the inside of him. Going into the right-handed tunnel here, another corner where Ensom's going to be beeping that tire anyway, and Mindful with a pass before they even finish out the sector, and that's third place for Mindful there. I don't think Ensom has it to take it back from him, even if he gets back on him in this straight here. Lap. Ensom opts not to take slipstream from him, so I don't think he was even going to try in a turn 1. But he is very, very close here. I'm going to stay with these two just in case there's a move. This is the last lap of the race. Definitely want to make sure that we catch Wade crossing the line. Or Yagami, you never know. You never know.
Yeah, that was just a wonderful move by Mindful. He didn't even really do much, to be honest. He didn't even try to throw him off the line. He just knew that he was in Identity's mirrors, and the second he realized that Identity was gonna miss his apex going into the tunnel, he decided to use his tires, use the freshness of his tires, use the tire advantage to slot exactly where he needs to be and on the inside. And Identity just didn't have any room to really, try to counter with a, earlier throttle, and Mindful made the move.
It did it. Fantastic move there. They are very close to being back in the same spot, and I think it's pretty clear that Mindful has the advantage. And some ooh, almost going into the wall on the outside of that turn there. Sorry, let me go up front now to our presumed race winner. We'll watch him cross the line here as he finishes out the third sector of the track. Plenty of fuel in the car, good bit of rubber left on there. You can go several laps more, but Witt is going to cross the line here in lap 14 in first place rather by 4.3 seconds. And then comes Yagami in second. A great comeback for him after falling down to sixth place by the first corner. Mindful place back into third place. And some will finish behind him in fourth. Rusty Maggots in fifth place. Shred will be behind him in sixth place, followed by the Truth. Seventh also had a mighty fight up to that position. Ando makes his way up into eighth place there quietly, but Sig comes in behind him in ninth. Pretty intense. Corridor will take 11th place. MMR Moose crossing in that BMW in 12th place. And then we've got Jeffrey, who is coming through the final corners now. He looks so quick in qualifying, but yeah, that spin and pit stop situation really threw him off. Only 16 seconds back from Moose. Eh, who knows what would have happened if he'd been able to stay with the pack and stay in slipstream. But Jeffrey going to take last place for his first race in the GR Cup, and that is our sprint race. How did that feel for you, However, your first race called?
It was very fun. A lot of movement up and down the field. I think, yeah, we saw the tire wear being a significant factor. A lot of these cars had different, different driving styles, and obviously, I don't know each and every one's setup. So, some of these cars could be set up a little bit differently due to aerodynamics, and that does change the tire wear. But even across, different drivers with the same car, the way they drove, it was reflective in their tire wear, and I think it really did become a contributing factor. Seeing Stig,
Oh, yeah.
be up in sixth, but sadly drop down to 10th just because he wasn't able to keep that front left, that was all because of tire wear. He had the pace. We saw it in qualifying. He just wasn't able to keep it. Same thing with Mindful and Identity. Identity really killed his front left in comparison to Yagami, who had a way better front left to him. What's most interesting to me is that Wid had also a weaker front left to compare to Yagami, and of course they have different cars, and aerodynamics could be a significant factor in the whatchamacallit, the braking bias. But I think we will see this happen again going into the Group 2 race. I think tires are going to be the most important thing here.
I mean, we're going back to the same exact track. I mean, this time those right-handed sweepers are now lefties, and so we'll be looking at people's right-hand tires to see how they're doing. And it's definitely going to matter not just in the sweepers, but in corners like oh gosh, I guess the corner before the chicane, the final chicane there, downhill right hand turn or left hand turn rather. If that right hand front tire is gone, then you can't get the gas down. You can't get your foot on the pedal fast enough to get down to that chicane, which is such an important passing point. It's an important place to get to before the guy behind you or in front of you. So we'll see.
Absolutely. Do you have any predictions on who is going to sit on top of the podium?
Oof. Well, we go back here, take a look. These first seven will be set up backwards. So Truth will be in pole position, followed by Shred, then Rusty Maggots, then Ensum, then Mindful Place, Yagami, and Widsi. Uh, it's hard enough to pass around here. I think it's even harder in Group 2 cars because they are so susceptible to dirty air. Um, so I think there's going to be a huge challenge for drivers like Wid to even make his way back up the order and 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 make something happen. I think we're gonna see. Oh gosh, I don't even know. I don't. I think we'll see less passing than we think we will. But just the fact that it's the track is now backwards. People are gonna have different proficiencies depending on backwards or forward. We're in a different kind of car. You do have that added twist of the first seven being reverse grid. There's a lot going on. Do you have predictions?
Absolutely. I think In terms of predictions, I think we will see Wid back on the podium. I think we will see Identity and Yagami take the other two spots. I don't know in which order. Of course, I'm biased. I want to say Wid, but it could be any of those three in any of those orders. I think with Truth having pole position, that's a very strong pole position around here.
Very
I think
strong.
if I were Truth in his car right now, knowing that I was going to start first, I think I would start on the harder tire, which I think is medium, and try to hold up the entire grid as long as possible, right? You know that you will have probably less paced in, with Yagami Mindful. But if you can get that hard tire out of the way at the beginning while them using a possibly their softer tire off the start, then you can start that second half with a much stronger tire while still controlling the pace and still coming out of the pits in a very strong position. That's how I would play this right now.
Got it. So starting on a harder compound. Well, speaking of starting on a harder compound, let's talk about the rules for the feature race. So we will be at Trial Mountain in GR2 cars this time around. So the you may know them from Super GT racing. Specifically, will be in the Lexus RCF GT 500 GR2. Now, the race distance is 27 laps this time around. The cars are faster, but it will be a longer race, around 45 minutes or so, I think. Um, we just talked about the grid order being P8 through P15 starting, and then P1 through 7 are reverse order rather. P8 through P15 all start in the same order that they finish the sprint race. The start type this time is a rolling start, so no false check needed. BOP and tuning and the like are the same. So BOP is on, but brake balance and aero tuning are allowed. So, like we talked about, we'll see some of that play into tire wear and people's driving styles. There are tire requirements. You will race on the racing tires only, but 2 compounds are required. That means at least 1 pit stop has to happen here. Both tire and fuel usage are at 2x. The refuel rate is only 3 liters per second this time around. You do start with a full tank at 100 liters, and we'll be racing in the afternoon with random weather and a time multiplier set to 1x. So,
I think I think going into this race with it being 27 laps and the tire wear being harsher than in the Group 3 race, I think we're going to see two different strategies in play. I think we will see either a hard to soft or a medium to soft. I think the medium to soft is going to be preferred, considering that hard tire in this game is a bit notorious for having a lack of pace compared to the medium and the softs. But the
pretty
pit
bad.
stop is also kind of long. You want to avoid being in the pits. I don't think we'll see a two stop, but someone may try it with a soft medium.
I can see a soft medium happening, or the other way around. Yeah, that pit stop though, that is the deciding factor for sure. I don't think the medium pace is that far off of the soft to make it worth doing 2 softs. I think letting the medium, like riding it out, is probably the best way to go around here.
I think so too, but you never know. These drivers have been practicing this all throughout the last 3 weeks. These guys have been, going to the theory crafting board, and they're going to be just trying to get every single advantage that they can, right? Squeezing out every single tenth, every single second, here, there, and then. And I wouldn't be surprised if someone tries a two stop here. But of course, one stop would save you a lot of time in the pits. I don't see the hards actually being. Now that I think about it, I don't think the hards will come into play. I think we will see either long medium to a soft, or a shorter medium and then two softs.
Got it. Well, we'll see. Some people like the hard tire for whatever reason, so I think we'll see at least one hard tire out there. I don't think it'll do well. I'm with you. I like the hard because the GR3s feel good to drive on the hard tire, but gosh, it's really got no pace. No pace whatsoever.
Oh, yeah, unfortunately not. And a lot of these races are just a bit too short to really, abuse the hard length.
That's
So,
right. And you know what? I said GR3s, but we're in GR2s, so I take that back.
yep, the GR2 and the GR3s tire wear aren't too far off from one another, but just the simple fact that we have a 2 times tire wear multiplier, I think, same thing again. We're going to see a
Yeah.
lot of harsher tires. We're going to see the softs drop off a lot faster than we saw in the Group 3 sprint race. So that's why I think, yeah, two stop could be on the cards.
Do you think that the just the fact that there is more downforce on the GR2s and so should get a little less scrubbing out of the tires will help at all, even with the increased tire wear?
It will help, especially in the corners, but the problem is that with the increased horsepower, you're kind of balancing it back out, if you get what I
True.
mean.
Yeah, yeah, on the throttle.
Especially
And sorry, go ahead.
especially with this, most importantly, since it is going to be a counterclockwise track, we're going to see now the front right being the critical tire.
That's right. That's exactly right. Well, lighter, faster cars, but more horsepower, more tire wear rate. It's not as easy a translation or calculation as we would think, like you're saying. We should be starting soon, I think here. Just waiting on some technical stuff to get worked out. I'm reconnecting with our producer. I'm gonna get us back online, get the racing screen back up for you guys in the audience, and we should be watching some very good racing once we get back in there. Kind of wish I was doing this race. I really love Child Mountain. And I do really enjoy driving the GR2s when I get a chance to. You don't see very many GR2 lobbies. None of my friends race them. And so I think the last time I even got to seriously do so was I think GT Champions was doing a GR2 championship maybe last summer or something like that.
Last summer, that was the blah blah blah, the Group 2 Japanese cars. So we saw the Nissans and I think the Lexus. I don't think the NSX was available there.
Yeah, yeah. I remember one of those races was at Suzuka, and gosh, was it? I don't know if I was racing you. I think it was. I can't remember who I was racing, but man, heartbreak. I put on an incredible defense just to run out of fuel on the very last lap, right in the Casio Triangle. I mean, as soon as I hit the apex of the chicane, I ran out of fuel and lost the position going to the line. That is my memory of that championship. Well, here we are. We're about to start now. Looks like we got a lot of people starting behind the chicane, which won't be fun for them. They
Yep,
may
but
get
hopefully they
delayed.
will all get out. Yep, I think they will be all out onto the straight
Yes,
before
they
the
will.
lights go off.
Fantastic. And they're off. So the truth obviously going to take off. Everyone was already on full throttle when the light went off. Nothing to worry about with timing there or false starts or anything like that. It is just a matter of getting going. So the truth leads Shred, leads Rusty, Russ and some in a mindful place for the top 5 there. Remember, top 8 are backwards. Oh, is that a penalty for Truth? It is. The Truth starts it off with a half-second penalty. Not sure what he cut there, but I can imagine where it happened. It's so easy in those first few S's to do that there. And that's really unfortunate. Shred is going to probably inherit first place if he doesn't take too much flack from Rusty behind him. And some sits in 4th place, a mindful place in 6th. Widsty already making his way up the order. He's getting ahead of Yagami. He started this thing in 8th place. He's up to 6th, so he's got Yagami. He's got Rhyme Spree. Rhyme Spree side by side with Yagami at the end of the straight. Is he going to make a move here? He's going to try to get on that throttle sooner than Yagami can, and he does it. Yagami has to make sure he doesn't go out too wide, and he's lost 2 positions just to start the race here. Xander in 9th place there. Stig looking at Yagami, is he vulnerable? Maybe not so much. He seems to have settled just a little bit here as we make our way through the rest of the order just to see what's happening in the back of this race. The back of the pack seems to still be in the same order. So we'll go back up front. The Truth is going to have to take his penalty right at the start of this straight. Heartbreak right away for him. Shred gonna see if he can catch up to him. He'd already had a second and a half on him though, which is actually pretty good. I think Truth is gonna survive this, and he does.
Absolutely, he did. Yep, he did extremely well trying to offset that penalty. Still somehow in the lead. He did an incredible job managing it. That would have been a death sentence if he didn't play it like that.
Yes, it would have been. And bear with me. I need to. For some reason, you're coming out of my speaker in my headphones, and don't want that. My uh, McNaughty, can you hear that? Oh yes, you can. You can hear my speaker. We're good now. Okay, so never mind, guys. Thought I was causing audio issues. So yeah, the Truth, well done to offset that penalty and survive that. So he's gonna get to keep that position, like you predicted or said that you would try. Hover. He did start on the medium tire. So he's gonna go for his slower stint first here, try to control the pace up front while everyone else burns their softs. Shred is also on the medium behind him. Oh, heck, why don't we look at everybody's tires? Shred's on the medium, Rusty's on the medium. So and some identity. Wid already up to fifth place on the medium. Rhyme Spree is on the soft following Wid, but he is already taken a set of softs here for this opening stint. Mindful is going to be on the medium, as is Yagami. Stig on the medium, Corridor on the medium, Anjo with a penalty, a half second that he's going to have to take now. He's on the racing soft, so that's not how you take advantage of those. Behind him is Jeffrey, also on the medium. And was it Jeffrey in a different? Yes. No, sorry, I'm thinking about something else. MMR Moose, also on the medium. So two soft runners, Ando and Spree. Spree doing okay. Ando, as we see, has ended up in last place here on that softer compound hover.
Yep, a bit unfortunate, probably cut somewhere a little bit too cheeky, but, you know, he is on the soft, so he should have pace to at least keep up with the guys ahead. It's just going to be a matter of, you know, once the first pit stops are going to happen, he's going to have to manage the mediums, you know, in a compromised pace compared to pretty much everyone else on the grid.
That's right. That's unfortunate there for him. No big changes up front. Wid, as we know, making his way up the order. He's already just 0.25 seconds behind Rusty. Was that Spree looking like he wanted to make a move on Wid? He does have the softer tires, and I'm sure he wants to take advantage and use those before they wear out. Everyone else is on mediums. He's going to want to get in front of Wid before his soft tires wear, but I don't think Wid is going to let that happen. Wid is trying to make his way up the order right now. He's all over the back of Rusty.
Yep, it's going to be a matter of, you know, at this point, it's going to be a decision on Rusty whether to let him pass by easily or to try to keep him, you know, fighting. Eventually, this is going to be a lost battle, right? Rusty is going to have to, he almost loses it on the outside.
Oh, man.
Rusty's going to have to decide, you know, how long does he want to keep Wid behind? Because Wid will eventually get ahead. It's just a matter of, does he want to create a gap in front, or does he want to try to, you know, keep the gap close ahead?
Right, basically. And I can see maybe if they were on different tire compounds, it might be worth keeping Wid behind. Like maybe he's on softs, he's been wasting those soft compounds, but not that Rusty necessarily knows that unless he's listening or maybe paid attention when Wid got on track. Spree, though, definitely wants to make something happen with those softs while he can, and I think Wid might realize that Spree is on softs with keeping up behind him and keeping him there on purpose.
Well, I think Spree got damaged, right?
I think I just saw that. Yes, he did. Front arrow and front right wheel. He hit that wall coming into that corner, and Yagami's going to sail by him easily here. Spree extremely compromised here. I believe we have heavy damage on, and so we will have to go into the bids to get that fixed, if I'm not mistaken.
A little bit behind. Moose does make the move for 10th on Corridor, but has a penalty. But Corridor tries to fight back a little bit.
Well, he's not going to have to fight back. He just got to stay with Moose because that penalty will easily let him get back around him. So no need to risk anything there for sure. I'm looking up front. I'm interested to see what Rhymes' car looks like. Okay, that damage is gone. No need to pit. So it's actually not heavy damage here. So that's lucky for him that he only lost to one position and he's still in the slipstream. So we still got a chance on those racing soft tires. So that front left is already starting to show itself.
Yep, Moose loses a position on Corridor due to the penalty, but he's still close behind. Hopefully he can try to retake it, but we'll see. Going into the tunnel, he gets a run. Going up to the inside Corridor, he holds it wide. Squeezes him a little bit on the apex, keeps the position. Oh, Moose goes a bit loose. Goes into Jeffrey, but doesn't seem to be any damage. No one seems to have crashed, luckily. And we keep on.
Wow, that was really lucky not to completely lose it there. It's so easy to just spin it right into the wall on the left-hand side there. Almost collected Ando with him, but he manages to hold on to it and keep on racing. That's scary stuff right there. It's so easy to do in that corner, of course. Oh man, I love this track so much. Let's see. Ahead of Stig, I see too wide between Spree and Mindful. So Spree trying to gain these positions, trying to get up where he needs to after losing a position. I think he's actually, that was him taking it back from Mindful, so he must have lost it twice. I don't know if maybe he made a similar mistake going into that front straight this time around, but obviously that front right not helping. Probably was pretty slow in that corner. I think the window for where the softs are, the superior tire, is quickly coming to an end for him, if not already done here, finishing up lap 5.
Yep, I think Spree right now just has to conserve his position until his pit stop strategy, comes into play. I don't know what lap he wants to pit this. I don't know if he wants to do, another set of softs and then end with the mediums, or try to take the mediums all the way to the end. The mediums all around seem to be holding up really well, so my thinking is this is definitely going to lean towards a one-stop race, a medium to soft for most of the runners, except for Spree and Ando. They're probably going to be doing a one-stop from soft to medium.
Games are looking really, really good for folks there. Wid almost lost it there behind Rusty. That was pretty close looking there, but he's been with Rusty for a while. I don't know if maybe he's not trying to pass. We'll see here because he's got an opportunity to do so here. Is he going to? Yes, comes around, not looking to bump drafts. He's definitely looking to make the pass this time around on Rusty. Rusty not fighting it, doesn't go defensive or anything like that. Doesn't even seem to be looking for the undercut. He's just going to tuck right back in behind Wid. Recognizes Wid's got pace, and hopefully stay on his coattails to keep Yagami behind him here. Who's also on the mediums, which, like you said, I mean, look at those. Those are doing really well. 6 laps in, this is what they look like.
Yep, I think these mediums could realistically, we could see a lot of people run almost the entire race, to be honest. But they're probably going to call it quits around lap probably 17 to 20, especially with the fuel going low. That's going to... Oh, Yagami almost spins it. He holds onto it, still a little bit behind on Rusty, cost him maybe 2/10, but still holds onto the car. As I was saying before, I think we're going to see a lot of these guys on mediums call it quits from lap 16 to 20 to take it onto the softs.
Get onto the softs there. Yep, I agree, because the softs seem to fall off by lap 5. They're not looking great at all for Rhyme here. Front right looks great, or front left looks great, and maybe, we don't have very many examples of folks on the softs right now. We talked about people's different driving styles and their tuning setups. It could be that someone else can make that front right last a little bit longer. In fact, let's go check out Ando's car to see how he's doing on those softs. Indeed.
Oh, he's doing phenomenal.
Right. Yeah, he's doing way better on his. So I think Spree just really leans on the outside tire in those longer turns there. So I still don't think the softs are lasting. I think Ando is still in trouble here. He's in 12th. When did Stig end up in 13th, though? What did we miss? And by a lot, 6.6 seconds.
must have spun or hit somewhere.
Oh yeah,
Because you're right, he was running up around 9th and 8th.
he was a
But
ninth.
now
That's
he's
right.
pulling back. But the train ahead is getting a lot more active, with Corridor losing a position to Ando, going down to 12th. Ando's trying to stay really close to Moose with a little bit worse tire wear, but he's still keeping in the pace, still keeping in the slipstream, with Jeffrey right ahead and 9th.
Go to these folks. Yeah, Jeffrey doing well in ninth place, actually. So a much better start to this race than the sprint race for him. I am very interested to see where he ends up. Um, that does seem to be a pretty deep train. Is that 4 cars that you mentioned there, starting with Corridor? Or
Yeah, but
will
looks
it
like
be
it.
with
But now
Corridor?
Jeffrey takes a little bit more of a gap, now at 1 second. But Corridor still behind Ando with only 5/10 now.
Not too bad. Up ahead of them, there wasn't too much action going on there. Folks getting a little bit separated. Yagami is still pretty close to Rusty Maggots, but they aren't fighting or anything like that I can tell, though. Yagami getting very, very close as they near the end of this straight. I don't know what he's going to do here. He's going to try to make a move. It's a little bit late to try to take a lunge, and so he's not. He's going to stay patient behind Rusty here. Makes that turn early apex just to make sure he doesn't get caught up by any dirty air. Oh, when he kinda, oh my gosh, I don't think he did that on purpose. I don't think he was trying to make a pass or anything like that. I think he just lost the car just a little bit. Luckily, no touch between the two of them. Has that slowed them down though? They're 2.5 seconds behind Wid. They don't seem to, they're losing time, but not at a ridiculous pace. So hopefully that didn't slow them down too much there. But Yagami very lucky not to go off track and not to collect Rusty Maggots with him.
Yep, Yagami's main, train of thought is to get ahead of Rusty as quick as possible. He knows Rusty is holding him up. He knows Wid is right ahead, and he has the pace to take him to him. He has the pace to win this entire race, despite, Truth being very good, keeping in the low to mid 38s, and, the fastest lap time right now is only at 37.7. Truth is doing very well up front, 2 seconds ahead of Shredder. And, he's controlling this race magnificently, but the threat of Wid and Yagami still looms over him. And of course, Yagami knows that. He knows he's the predator in this situation. He knows he has to get ahead of Rusty. But Truth does have the time gap. He does have the position. He does control the pace of this race. And it's going to be difficult for Wid or Yagami to even try to overcome that. Or even Shredder or Identity. This is still a very early race, and seeing these gaps not go too far, but seeing the surprising amount of pace of some of these drivers compared to their Group 3 results, it's interesting, and I really think we're going to see an upset in terms of the podium. I think I might be dead wrong with all of my predictions, to be honest.
We have a long way to see and a long way to know for sure. So we'll find out. We're about a third of the way through this race. Is that math? That is math. 9 of 27, 1/3. Look at me, 5th grade.
Oh, but if we check, Identity somehow manages to grab second place. It goes a little bit under on the exit of the chicane. Shredder must have hit the wall on the outside, and it is a position change.
I don't see any damage on Shred's car, so whatever it was a light touch. But yeah, positional change there. We've got a replay that we can go to, so we'll stay with Shred and see what we can find out. So this is them coming into the chicane. Identity Shred goes wide. Shred goes very wide into the chicane and doesn't seem to get a great exit out of it. Yep, loses the rear end just a little bit there. Ensom had a much neater line through the chicane and easily takes that position away from him. Now Wid's been on a tear, obviously, coming from 8th place to 4th. He is looking for nothing less than 1st, of course, but first he's going to try to get himself onto the podium. Shred, I'm sure.
Behind Wid as well.
Go ahead.
Yagami behind Wid as well, so he made the move on Rusty somewhere. But now this, 3-train, almost 4-train car, 4-car train, this is going to be really determining what's going to happen in the future of the race. I think these positions, especially right now, is going to determine a lot going ahead. If I'm Shredder and Identity, I'm probably going to try to not fight Wid too much, because I think these guys know that, oh, Wid goes loose,
Fair.
holds it onto the exit.
Yep, manages not to completely spin it, manages not to hit the wall or anything like that, but very loose the chicane. I felt like I'm not sure what happened, just oversteer, it looks like, into the first part of the chicane. Do we have a replay on that? A tentative replay on that to see exactly what happened to him. He's already kind of loose coming into the corner before here. We're gonna go chase cam to see what happens to the back of that car. Oh, just on the throttle really early there. I mean, he was still turning, and he got on the gas a little bit too much, oversteers while he was still turning left, and the car decided to turn left some more. So, lesson learned there for Wid. No biggie, didn't lose any positions, but he's got to climb back up the shred. And, you know, we have plenty of time left in this race, but at the same time, we don't, right? Like, you got Yagami coming up to you. You've got other cars that are just getting quicker and quicker. You're on different strategies than some folks. You really don't want to be losing time, even at this stage of the race.
Definitely not. Everyone currently is basically on the same tire, so trying to minimize mistakes and keep that gap up. Exactly what Truth is doing, by the way. He's running fantastic.
Uh-oh.
Lap 9, a 38 flat. Only 2/10 off of the fastest lap. Incredible job right now. But this is pretty much what everyone wants to do, right? They want to conserve their position, reduce the mistakes, because everyone knows that they're on an equal playing field right now. As I say that, Wid is a little bit ahead of Yagami, only 3/10. Don't think Yagami will make a move here, but he will try something in the future.
I think Wid had a moment in that third to last corner there just before the chicane. I think I saw his tail wagging. I think he got into the grass, and that enabled Yagami to get that much closer to him, but not close enough to actually make a move there. So that's got to feel like such a tease for him. Watching Wid really just try his best to use as much of the track as possible and to push and to make mistakes and to still not be able to get ahead of him is probably killing Yagami there. But man, he's flying. Both of them are absolutely flying. He's doing a great job taking the Wid's coattails and trying to make his way up to the front of this race.
Absolutely. Do you think Wid is going to catch Shred first, or do you think Yagami is going to catch Wid first?
I think if Wid keeps making mistakes, I think Yagami's got a chance there. It's Speaking of mistakes, we're looking at MMR Moose with a half-second penalty here that he's going to have to take. But yeah, we just watched Wid have kind of two moments in very short succession there. He's clearly pushing the car to try and make his way up to the front. But at what cost? What does it matter if you spin it or if you put it in a wall?
Exactly. I think those were uncharacteristic of Wid, but he'll recover and he'll put his head down and try to regain those extra tenths.
I think so as well. Dig in 12th place. Looks like Rhymed has ended up swapping spots with him and taking the last place here. Not sure exactly what happened there. It looks like maybe he pitted lap 8. That looks like an in-lap time and 9 an out-lap, unless he just had 2 really bad laps in a row. Oh, he pitted. Okay, got it. Oh yeah, I see fuel, I see tires. Sorry, my laptop screen is kind of in the way of that. Let's close that. So Rhymes 3, our first pit stop. Interesting to go so early. Well, he was on the softs, wasn't he? He was on the softs,
Yeah,
and he wasn't doing very well on them.
His softs were not lasting at all, at least in terms of the distance that it needs to cover, which makes me think that Spree either will go all the way to the end on this medium, but he may risk another soft. Only 9 seconds behind the stick. While the softs may not gain him a lot of time, him being so, so much, leaning so much on his softs, he may have to retire this set of mediums early. It may not be able to reach all the way to the end.
I thought too. I don't know that. Yeah, I don't think he's gentle enough on his tires to make those last forever. Looking at everyone else's they're on lap 13, right? So we're about halfway through the race, and this is what Moose's mediums look like. These are what mediums look like on people who have been able to conserve them pretty well. Not Jeffrey. That front right is looking a little worse for the wear in comparison to like a mindful place. Here's Rusty's situation. Yagami, I think Wid was also doing a great job with his. And so if Free has to go another 13 laps, and we know he's a little bit heavier on his tires than everyone else, they're going to look worse than this by the end. And that's, I don't know, such a long pit stop though. Maybe we can figure something out, but if it's something in the tune of the car or just inherently in your style of driving, it's also not the time to try to change your style either, is it?
Yeah, it's very difficult to do that on the fly, especially in the actual race. It's a little bit easier to try it out in practice. Change the way you want to maneuver the wheel. Change the way, the moments when you want to go back on throttle or go off the brakes. But doing it actually in the race, it's a bit difficult, even for
Right.
the best drivers, especially since you put so much time in, practicing one certain strategy.
That's right. That's right. Trying to figure it out on the fly while trying to keep your pace is almost impossible. Some people can do it. Some people are aliens, but for the most part, what you get is what you get as far as driving style goes. So we'll keep an eye on him. We'll see where he ends up hitting. This battle for third is intense, right? Like Wid kind of back up there with Shred. Yagami still with him. Well, he's lost a little bit of time there just in the last couple corners that we just saw. We got a pit stop, and some is in fourth place in the pits now. So our second pit stop, our first coming off the medium to
I
get
think
on.
this is going to set off a chain reaction, but I think this is a little bit too early, to be honest. Going already off the mediums, only just over halfway into the race. I don't know if the softs are going to last this last 13, 12 laps, to be honest. But this
I
is
don't.
going to set a chain reaction. Everyone else on the grid is going to react to him, I think.
They are because he was pretty close to. I mean, that battle there wasn't that far off. The battle for third wasn't far off from him, so they're going to be covering off the undercut for sure. He's on the softs. I think he can make them last. Ando is still out there on his softs, over halfway. I'm not sure why he's still on the softs over halfway through the race, but he is. Um, and they blasted okay, so maybe Ensom knows something. Maybe he knows
He
he's supposed
might.
to. Yeah, but I don't know what Ando's plan is. I guess I don't know. He's not in traffic or anything like that, but I don't see the reason to remain on the softs. You've made it more than halfway. That means you for sure you can take another set of softs. Oh, he can't. He's got to get on the medium top,
I
so
think
he
so. I
can
think it's
minimize the
time for
time on the
Ando.
slower tire.
Yep. Time to retire to these softs, and because we see Truth and Wade and those guys, being able to go into the 37s, or as I say that, Wade is going into the pits right now.
Right. I was just gonna say I was looking at his times, 39s, mid to low 39s the last few laps. He dipped into the high 38s a few laps ago, but yeah. Did I just see a spin?
Yes, Moose spun.
Moose. Yes, Moose in 11th place there, and he's got damage. So front lip, front left tired, and Ando is into the pits, by the way. So is Corridor. You were right. So we set off a chain reaction here. Here's a replay of what happened to Moose. Gets past there, and looks like just oversteer, just on throttle oversteer, coming out of that corner. Easy to do. So easy to do right there. He's able to flick the car back around quickly, though. He takes damage, but of course, he's right in front of the pit lane. Hopefully, he didn't end up crossing the line or anything like that going in and won't have to eat a 3-second penalty. We'll see as he comes out right now on these soft tires.
So crucially,
No pen.
crucially, Identity seems to have gone ahead of Wid and Yagami. Three
No
seconds.
way.
He, of course, was ahead, I think, of the two, so, naturally he keeps the position, but a 3.7-second gap is very significant in this point in the race.
Very, very significant there. You're right. He was ahead of them. Sorry, I said no way, like I was in disbelief, but you're right. He was already ahead of them. These two pitted. Their tires are just about a lap fresher. But I think he's come out in a good position here. I think maybe he made the right call. Because now he's all over the back of Jeffrey here, who owes the pit stop, of course. But where is he in comparison to Mindful place? Mindful still going slow on mediums, just now pitting. So this is really the lap where we'll see where Ensom comes out because I believe that's who was in front of him, if I'm not mistaken, on track.
The most crucial thing here is,
No,
does
Truth.
identity get ahead of truth?
It is Truth. Ensom was in second place. Yes, okay. I'm back. I'm back in this race with the rest of them. The Truth comes out in third. Ensom not ahead of him. Ensom 2 seconds back, but gaining. That is shrinking here. You remember what the gap was before? We hadn't checked on them in a little bit.
A lot more than 1.5. It was upwards to 3, I think.
Oh, wow. Wow, so, Ensom, the undercut has played out pretty well for him, but of course he's not there, right? He's not in a place where he gets to battle with Truth while Truth has cold tires. He's gonna have to catch up to him, and Truth will ultimately always have fresher tires than he does. So it got him closer, but I don't think it got him what he needed.
Not exactly, and that could have been because of Jeffrey holding him up in those final, in that back half of that lap.
It really could have
That's the
been.
unfortunate risk that you take while, pitting early, right? Being stuck behind people, that didn't take the pit stop yet. Now Jeffrey may take a pit stop now. Luckily, Wid isn't too far deep. Wid isn't right behind him, so he won't lose too much time if Jeffrey does take a pit stop right now. But if he stays out, Wid will lose time behind him until he finds a way to pass him.
That's right. Moose with more damage. It looks like front arrow. This time it's the front right, but that's okay. It's not heavy damage. I keep forgetting that. I keep thinking you have to pit for damage, but you don't. Two more pitters. Rusty Maggots is going to leave Shred up front alone. He's going to go ahead and take the soft. Jeffrey also in the pits. So I think most folks have pitted at this point. Rhymed on those worn mediums. He, of course, had to get off the softs very early on. And at this point, he's going to be slower than pretty much anyone on track. He'll have the least fresh tires. He's on the slower compound as well. Ando's off those worn softs, so that's not an issue for him. He's going to finish out the race on the mediums more than likely.
Most likely, yep.
Don't think he gained much on the softs, unfortunately. I mean, he's in ninth place here. I think he actually is in 8th place on track, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I was just about to ask you, what are your thoughts on Shred being in the lead, still not pitting?
I don't know why he's still on those tires. I guess maybe he feels like, I don't know. Maybe he had a strategy in mind. Oh, big wiggle there, or maybe that was just a weird net code glitch. I thought he was spinning, but he's actually jumping into the pits now to get on his soft tires. So we'll see where he comes out. He was just ahead of Wid, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean just ahead, though. Like, it was like on bumper. So here's Wid coming through the final chicane now. Shred is still putting tires on, and he's gonna fuel. He's gonna take a little bit of fuel. Wid into turn 1. I think that's job done for Wid there. That's 3rd place. Shred is still just now coming out of the pits. So staying out didn't help Shred at all. He does come out ahead of Rusty. So there's that. He's not pretty far ahead of Rusty, actually. But Wid is through for 3rd place. Yagami also through for 4th place, still chasing Wid.
Yep, I think Shred stayed out a bit too far out, right? I think he should have pit 1 or 2 laps earlier. He was just losing bleeding time on those, worn mediums. But I think his reasoning to do this is because he was actually having a little bit worse tire wear on the mediums compared to everyone else around him. I was noticing that in the top 5, Shred actually had the worst mediums before the pit stops. So I think he knew that and needed to offset that disadvantage by pitting later and trying to get his softs a little bit fresher for the second half.
Gotcha, gotcha. That makes sense. If you can't keep the mediums up under you, you definitely can't keep the softs up under you. So I don't think that there's anything to be gained from being on the softs here, but maybe it'll help him preserve, right, by
Yep, I
keeping
think his
them.
idea is just, having those softs a little bit fresher. It'll offset his tire wear disadvantage, and he'll at least try to stay up in fifth. I don't know how much he'll be able to gain in terms of time to the to the top four, but he is in a very good position to conserve his fifth right now.
That's right. That's right. I don't know that he'll gain anything on the top four. I mean, his tires are more fresh, but it's not magnitudes fresher, right? I think we've lost enough time that he's not going to make up for it on the back end when he's got, two laps when his tires are two laps less old than anyone else's. I don't know why I can't come up with a better way to say that. 2 laps younger, 2 laps fresher. How about that, Jeffrey? After the pit stop shuffle, still in ninth place, so still holding it down in the top 10 for points there. Ando will be in 10th place on the mediums. Nothing to gain, only to preserve here. Behind him, there's Stig with, I think, a penalty. Yes, a half-second penalty for Stig on his racing softs now. And Corridor is 8.9 seconds behind him, so he's not going to have to worry about losing a position with that penalty, but he certainly won't be gaining on Ando. And then we've got Moose in last place. I am so not used to seeing Moose in last place anywhere. Trail Mountain must really not be his track.
Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it. He finished very well in last round's two races, so I'm there right with you, Taddy. I think it's a bit shocking to see him down in 13th, but everyone gets 3 drop rounds, so hopefully he finishes this race, forgets it immediately, and just practices for the next one.
That's right, pretty much. That's all you can really do. This prediction actually still has panned out. The truth, holding on to first place there, controlling the pace of the race, and then being able to get on the softer compound tire and being in pretty decent shape. I mean, he's not home free, but he's got almost 3 seconds on the next car behind him. And the next car behind him's tires are in way worse shape. And then you've got Wid. Um, Wid is 3.7 seconds behind him, so he's definitely within striking distance, but he's running out of race to do it in, and he's still got to get past Ensom Identity. He can just tap the wall a little bit there. Maybe there's just a lot of dust uh, animation there. I'm not sure, but that seems slow to me for Wid. But he's still gaining on Ensom. Got to get past Ensom, then he's got to chase down the truth, and he's only got 6 laps to do it in. Really, 5.5.
Yep, I think Ensom and Truth are actually on the same team based off, having identical liveries. So if I'm here in a team situation, I think Ensom needs to, with all his might, hold up Wid as much as possible, right? Ensom's main job right here, right now, is keep Wood behind, make that gap in front, grow as large as humanly possible, and hopefully Truth of his good tires will be able to survive till the very end. But yes, Ensom right now, he's a wall. Keep
That's
Wood
right.
behind, keep Yagami behind, try to get Truth, his first win of the season.
Get his first win and get those points for the team. Because you're right, he's a city duck. He's not going to get first place, and may not even keep second, but he certainly can help increase that gap to help Truth win first place. And so far, he's doing a great job because the gap was 2.5 seconds, and it's now 3.5 seconds. So he's increased it by 1 second in this last lap here. And all he's got to do is control the pace, keep these guys behind him, which surprisingly isn't that hard at this track. It really isn't. It should be harder. You'd think it would be, but yeah, it takes quite a bit to actually pass someone around this track.
Yep, that's just due to the dirty air with some of these tires. If we actually can take a quick look down to 9th with Jeffrey and Spree, they're having a little bit of a battle right now. Going onto the main straight, Spree goes wide into the grass, lets Jeffrey by.
Yep, touches the
But
wall
Spree
there.
isn't done yet.
You got it. Go ahead.
goes into the slipstream, going into the final corner of this main straight. Isn't close enough to make a lunge. I think this position is pretty much done. I think Jeffrey probably has this eighth in his bag. No real comeback. Unfortunately, with a 11-second gap to front, I don't think he'll be making any more moves. I think he'll be pretty much just trying to conserve his spot, making sure Spree doesn't get a comeback. And I think that's just that battle right there and done.
Pretty much it. Yep. Tire difference is huge. Jeffrey on decent soft, Spree on worn medium. So not really much there that Spree can do, quite frankly, except try to keep Endo behind him. Endo was on the same strategy as far as tire compound choice, but he waited until much later to change onto the medium. So they're a lot fresher than Spree. And so that's what Spree needs to focus on right now, is staying with Jeffrey, riding his coattails, staying in that slip as long as possible, because here comes Ando. I want to see what's up back up here with Wid and Ensum. Yeah, he's here. Still, Ensum still doing a good job holding on to him. Look at that gap, 4.2 seconds now.
Yagami right behind these two, so these two, come into contact and take each other out. Yagami is now going to fly into second. This is a three-way battle for second. I hope Identity can keep his second, but like I said, his main goal is just try to increase that gap ahead and, don't let Wid or Yagami by.
That's it. Yeah, Yagami in a perfect position to take advantage if something happens to the two cars ahead of him. He's not placed the foot wrong all race long. He's just been, in the right place at the right time. Again, riding Wid C's coattails all the way up from the front. He did get passed by Wid early on. I think like lap 1, he was already down on him, but never lost track of him. Pitted with him, basically just run this race up underneath Wid's wing, so to speak.
Yep. Going into the first turn, still single file. Yagami loses a little bit of time. Wid does get a same run as Identity. No chance to overtake into the tunnel. Identity still keeps in the lead of this train. Going into the right-hander, everyone is neat and tight. Yagami gains a little bit of time. Going up the hill, the quick left-hander into the bit longer right-hander. Now the left-hander that goes onto the straight. This is where the action is going to be. We're going to see if Wid is able to use the slipstream to make a lunge going into the corner on the left-hander. We'll see 3.5 tenths. Yagami almost 5 tenths behind. This might be the move. This might be the move. This might be the chance for Wid to really take second place.
Surprisingly not going defensive here at all. Probably recognizes there's not much of a reason to in this corner here. Best bet is just to use as much of it as possible, and so he does maintain his position. Wid didn't see fit to dive in there anyway, maybe waiting for a much better opportunity.
Maybe, but not a lot of laps left. I say that as Yagami almost loses it on the outside.
No, not a lot of laps left at all, but still, if you mess it up, you lose 2 positions. Yours and Yagami behind you, of course. Meanwhile, the Truth really enjoying having this buffer and some playing the good lineman there, protecting his quarterback. The Truth is now 5 seconds up the road. All he has to do is take it home at this point. There's nothing anyone can do to catch him, quite frankly. Just bring it home.
Especially in 3 laps, definitely not.
Nope, definitely not. No risks. Just get this thing to the finish line and take your first place. First place finish of the season for him is what this would be if he's able to maintain that. Shred sits in 5th place. Nothing gained, nothing lost. Actually, he's gained a little bit of time on Rusty Maggot, so doesn't have to worry about Rusty at all. Rusty's front right not looking great, so that those soft tire compound. With that soft tire compound, rather, kind of working out for some and not so great for others, as we expected. A mindful place comes up behind him. He's only 1 second back, and his tires don't look that much better, but still gaining time. He's got a little more fuel in the car as well. I don't think that's going to make a huge difference. Only 2 laps left for them to go here. Continuing to check back, I see Jeffrey in 8th, and that pass on Rhyme 3 is done in the books, written. 4.7 seconds now. There's not a chance that Rhyme 3 can get back on him. Ando, however, looking to see if he can get something going against his own fellow countrymen here. Two Australians, both in S7R liveries, but one of them in much better condition as far as tires go, and that would be Ando. Look at all he's gained in those S's already. Sheesh.
Yep, Ando has the tire advantage right now. It's only going to be a matter of time, but only 2 laps left, so maybe Spree can hold it. Just going back to the front, Wood does make the move on Identity. Now Yagami, it's his turn. Only 2/10 away going into the tunnel. This could be, this could be Yagami's podium, but he only has 2 laps left. He's got to make a move soon, and I mean very soon. Once they get to the end of this straight, he only really has 1 or 2 more opportunities to make a move. 5/10 separate them now going onto the back straight. Identity hits the wall.
Identity hits the wall. So that's going to be Yagami's opportunity right now. Just go ahead and take that position. I don't think that Wid is really within reach, but that's his opportunity right there that Identity just gave him. Identity, a little wiggle, thinking about maybe defending, but he's not going to. Yagami into the turn first, hits that apex, exits out easily, and that is pass made there for Yagami into 3rd place. Mensa is still there. Identity still right there with him. There's still an opportunity if Yagami makes a mistake or something like that, which at this track is so easy to do. But Yagami up into a podium position from.
Oh, but he gets a penalty. He gets a penalty.
What? Oh my gosh! Yes, he did. Right as I got off of him, he gets a penalty there. He's not going to serve it yet.
Identity. Right behind.
Shred and Identity right behind. So Yagami's got to try to run away from these two to try to offset that penalty. If he can cross the line ahead of them. Shred ahead of Identity here for 4th place. So Identity has lost 3 positions in just the second half of this lap here, I believe. Well, not sure when Wid made the pass, but Yagami has to get away from them. Right now, the gap is 1 second. He really needs it to be about 1.5. He's going to be coming out of that chicane. Everyone's going to be coming out of the chicane slowly. But, man, it's still not a place where you want to have to hit the brakes or slow down and be off the throttle, basically, like people have to do.
Look at the tires between Yagami and Shred. Shred has way significant tires because of his later pit stop.
Oh, yeah.
Shred could take this podium, but he's going to have to really wring this car out of the final sector. He has a chance to get this podium.
He does. Yagami's not running away from him. In fact, the gap is just a little bit smaller, but it has stayed at that 1 second gap. Shred, definitely gaining on him up the hill into the S's. Yagami's just got a couple more corners before he has to take that penalty. And Shred, obviously they're in the same car. Acceleration is going to be the same. Shred has to get out of the chicane well. And that is the problem. That's the pressure, right? If Shred lights the rears up, then Yagami could potentially keep this podium position. Oh, man.
I think he might do it. It's going to be a race to the line. Who's going to keep it? Shred takes it.
Shred gets it. Shred takes it at the last second there. 42 thousandths of a second there for Shred
going
to get
back
that.
Real quick, Ando is chasing Spree going into the chicane, but I don't think there's enough time for him to make a move. Spring is really running on light in terms of the tires. Ando does get a better exit, but it looks like Spree does enough to keep it.
Well done for Spree there. I actually forgot to watch the truth cross the line, but we had a battle going. Sting's going to take 11th place. Corridor is going to come over for 12th place, and then just a second, 1.1 seconds behind him, we're looking at MMR Moose in 13th place here. So your finishing order of this race, crazy. Nothing like what we started with, but we've got the Truth in first place, Wid in second, Shred in third, Yagami in fourth, Identity in fifth, Rusty Maggots in sixth, A Mindful Place, The Quiet Race in seventh, Jeffrey up into eighth place, Spree takes ninth, Endo in 10th, Stig in 11th, Corridor in 12th, and MMR Moose in 13th place there. That is your finishing order for the feature. Whew. Man. lots of action. Love that this format, um, switches up P1 through 7 because it creates it creates something to strive for those first 7 positions there, and definitely creates some passing opportunities as people with different paces make their way through the front of the field here. How was that for you, Ever?
And that was an extremely fun race. Both races, like you said, this format really does, promote a lot of different movement up and down the race or up and down the track. Yeah, I mean, kudos to Truth. He started this race in first. He ended it in first. He looked solid the entire race. Not a single misstep. He held it on his own. He even had, I think, a fastest lap once or twice there and there. And he did enough for Witt and Yagami to not get, not to be in contention for the race win.
Yeah, I believe we did get the fastest lap a couple times there. Otherwise had a fairly easy race to the finish line. Obviously, the very start of the race there is the most dangerous part, but I think being a rolling start definitely helped him. Right, no pressure to get a better launch than anybody else, and not light up the tires. Turn 1 went fairly easily for him at this track. It's not a hard breaking corner, so that also helps, right? Just a slight lift, no real passing opportunity there. And once he was out of that first sector and out of that first back straight there, he was home free and held on to it. So good job for him. We're gonna do podium interviews pretty soon here, but let's talk about next week. I have the schedule up. If we can bring the schedule back, we'll just let everybody know when to see. It's not next week, but actually a couple weeks from now, on the 27th, we'll be at Interlagos. We'll be back in the GR4, GR86 for the sprint race, and then the feature race will be GR3s at Interlagos. So kind of a repeat of our first round here, this time in Brazil. You like Interlagos very much, Ever?
It's one of the best tracks in this game. Even in real life, it's a fan favorite across all racing series that travel to it. WEC, Formula One, I think even NASCAR did one race way back in the day on Interlagos. I could be wrong, but plenty of different race series come around here. It's gonna be a blast the next round, and yeah, Group 4 for the sprint and Group 3 for the feature. Definitely great cars for the track, and yeah, I think we're going to see a really good 2 races.
Can't wait. I like Interlagos. We're slowly becoming friends. I've never been great at it, but we're getting better. We do have interviews. Looks like we got a couple of podium sitters in the interview room. Do you want to join me in there? We'll go ask them some questions.
Of course, I think it sounds like a good plan.
All right, we'll be right back. Tiana and Hover here. Actually, it looks like we just have Truth and Wid in here right now. How are you two?
Good.
Great, man. Some great races from both of you here. We'll start with the sprint for a second, just to bring it up. Truth, you finished the sprint in P8, which that's solidly mid pack there. Obviously, you like Trial Mountain counterclockwise a little bit better than you like it clockwise, is what it sounds like. Yeah.
I think it's more that I like Group 2 cars more for some
That could
reason.
be it. Yeah.
I'm starting to think I like them because I usually do okay in them. So maybe that's what it is.
They're pretty good cars. They're pretty fun to drive. You did a great job in both races. Quite frankly, I think you had to gain some positions to get 8th place, if I'm not mistaken, for the sprint. But certainly holding on to first place there for the feature race couldn't have been easy. I mean, you had a lot of fast people behind you. You started on the medium tire. Was your plan just let me get on this medium, control the pace, and keep the other cars behind me?
Yeah, well, my plan was I was starting on mediums. I was like, don't be a hero because the guys in here are faster than you. So you're not going to run away. So just take the mediums, and where you end up is where you end up, and go from there. Then I took a penalty early, and that scared me. But then I was somehow able to get away and then stay up in front. But then I noticed my pace was really good, so I was like, okay. And then it was just trying to drive and not make mistakes.
Did a great job. It was a pretty quiet race. There's really not a whole lot to say about it, quite frankly. Hover, do you have any questions for Truth around this?
Uh, First of all, congratulations on the win. It was a very strong drive from the beginning to the end. That, like you said, that penalty at the beginning was that's a death sentence in any other race. But you did amazing to, manage it, to gain that gap, to keep second away from Ensom and Shred. And yeah, I just want to know your thoughts. Seeing the first round of pit stops, what were you thinking going out of the pits? Were you, scared of being caught up by an undercut or anything like that?
I was watching KP really closely because a couple things, like KP, I just know KP from like lobby racing and stuff. He's a really, really fast dude. So I was like worried about him to start with, and then he was 3 seconds back, and he went in early onto the softs, and I said, okay, well, he'll probably have trouble at the end, but I got to watch the undercut, and I had a 3 second gap, and I was like, oof, I don't know, and I was planning to go in like a lap or two later, and then I came out, I was a second and a half, but I was on cold tires. So then he got in my slip, and I was like, okay, now it's game on. And I just drove as hard as I could because I was like, I knew that the race was going to be potentially won or lost there. Because if I let him catch me and pass me and start fighting, that might have been the end because he's really good. So he made a small mistake, and then I was able to drive away. And that was the key to the whole thing.
Yep, that sound. I was saying over the stream, right? Ensom was closer to you after the pit stop, right? He went into the pits, I think, 2 laps before you did, and was able to cut that gap a little bit further, but not enough to get the slipstream. Was there? I don't know. I'm assuming you guys are teammates because of the identical liveries. Was there any talk on the team comms asking him to hold up Wid or Shred and Yagami?
No, we're not. We're not teammates. I think it's just he got a livery from Stig to comply. He's not. I don't know which team he's on, but he's not on mine. So yeah, no, it was just a battle.
All right. Well, hey, you came out on top. You had really good pace, and yeah, kudos to you. Amazing win, and I hope it's the first of many this season.
Yeah, thanks to everybody, and I just couldn't be happier because it's really rare when I beat some of the people in the lobby here, and they know who they are. Win. Okay, all right, that's it for me.
Congratulations, you deserve it.
Congrats, man.
Wid. So you won the sprint race. I mean, decisively. I don't even think that there's much to ask you about that race. That felt like you were just hot lapping. Was there any point in that race where you felt like you might really have some competition or be in trouble?
I knew Ryder was really fast. I mean, and he showed it by getting the fast lap. I think he just something went wrong with his start. So as soon as he came into second, he started very kind of like chipping away at me. But it didn't look like either one of us were really consistent with our laps. So the gap was kind of shrinking and then widening. So I was worried about him, but as the laps ticked down, I felt like I got pretty comfortable.
You actually did a pretty good job with the Aston Martin. We saw other drivers who were struggling with that front left tire there, but yours managed to stay pretty even keel. Both your tires. How do you do that on a track with such long sweepers or a couple of long sweepers? How do you maintain equilibrium between your two front tires? Was it just your settings or something about your driving style?
It's definitely a driving style and a conscious decision. I think we all know going into that track that's a tire killing track. So you basically it's all about how you enter the corner. You just kind of have to take it a little bit easy on corner entry if you want to save tires, and then make sure you're kind of all situated to get a great exit without hurting your tires too much. That's just what I said. Basically, just sounds like normal racing, but typically going for a qualifying lap, you can lean on the tires a lot harder going into the corner than you could during the race.
Right, right, for sure. Well, that podium position, or sorry, that winning position gave you eighth place for the feature. So you had a long way to climb, but I think you started making your way up pretty quickly. You'd gained two positions by the end of lap one. I think even by the back straight of lap one, if I'm not mistaken. But then for a little bit, you kind of languished. Like before the pit stops, I think you were not stuck behind Ensum. Was it
It was shred.
Shred? It was
Yeah.
Shred. Got it. How was that? Were you trying to pass, or did you decide, hey, let me just hang out here for a little bit? What was the situation?
I mean, I'm always trying to pass, but these cars on this track it's very tough to pass. You can't do anything in the corners because the downforce means so much, and if you don't have any, well, you're not going to battle in the corners. And so because of
Yep.
that, it's hard to get right up onto someone coming out of a corner onto the straights. So, and then plus, both like all the cars, they top out on the straight. So even if you get a slipstream, unless you're passing them on like the first half of the straight, well, you're not going to pass them because you're both topped out. Six gears just not tall enough
Right.
to make use of the slipstream. So it's a very, you have to be like within a quarter second coming out of the corner to make the pass.
I didn't even think about that. I forgot how short the gearing is in these cars. Yeah, that it totally explains how some of the slipstream trains that we saw, when people just kind of stopped making progress there. So, you were truly fighting and trying to make that happen. I think you did make the pass. I don't think we saw it on
Uh,
screen.
I passed Shred
Um,
after the pits. He pitted too late, so I undercut him. I don't want to say too late, but I
yes.
undercut him. I went on softs first, and once he came out of the pits, I was it didn't matter.
That's right. That's what it was. You came out of the pits. You were several seconds ahead of him. So that was nothing. It was the pass on Ensom that we didn't actually see. Was it easy? Was it hard?
Is that did he come in third? Is that Wilcox? I
I believe it's Wilcox. I
yeah.
had the
He came in fifth. He came in
on.
fifth.
Yeah,
Oh,
Wilcox is Enso.
okay. Yeah, I think he was having trouble with his tires at the end. I think Truth mentioned that he came in on softs a little earlier, so he might have been struggling with his tires towards the end, and so I was reeling him in heavily, and then coming out of onto the back straight, I just had a bit more grip, so I was within, that magic quarter of a second and was able to get alongside him before the braking zone into that sweeper.
Nice.
I
Well,
was seeing you, chase him down and trying to pass him. I wanted to ask if you were, got with how much once you actually caught up to Ensom, and you saw that the next person was Truth. Did you ever think for a moment to go super aggressive, try to make that move immediately, and try to catch up to Truth, or do you think there was just not enough time where you could actually afford to take it a little bit slower to take Ensom?
Uh, I don't think there was ever. I wasn't really focused on Truth so much. He looked like he was so far down the road, and I could tell based off his medium stint that he was really fast. So I didn't really think there was a chance of me catching him, and that kind of showed it. Like once I passed Wilcox, it was like I did not make up that much time on Truth, so it wasn't a concern of mine. I was just going to be happy with second.
Makes sense. Well, hey, I mean, you still got a sprint win. Last week, you unfortunately made the error in the feature race, but you made up for it this time, and you did an incredible drive going from seventh up to second. And you did wonderful both races. So congrats to you and P2 and P1 for the sprint.
Yeah, thanks. It was a great race, and yeah, I hired some new people on the pit crew so they didn't put the wrong tires on my car.
big points haul this time around, just for the right tires. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah. Shred. Thought you weren't going to join us for a second there.
I wasn't even aware I was supposed to join. I showed up, and I've just been told to join. So
Oh, we're glad that you made it. You joined because you got third place. Well, did you? No. Yagami came in third. How'd you do in the
I
sprint?
got Yagami at the line after he served his
Oh yeah,
penalty.
you did get him at the line. You're so right. Gosh, my memory. This literally just happened. You're right. We just watched that happen. Dude, what are you thinking when okay, Yagami's made this pass. He's in third place. Um and you see this penalty pop up. Did you know that you had fresher tires? Did you realize that you'd pitted that much later than him?
Oh yeah, I was told because I didn't practice like hardly at all for this race, and one of the guys on the team basically told me to run the strategy that I ran. And then once I pitted, I realized that I pitted way too late, and I could have gone way earlier on the sauce and just taken that time. But yeah, once he got the penalty, I knew I had the freshest tires. I just had to stay with him, but they did start to fall off towards the end. I was pushing pretty hard on that soft stint, trying to make up the time I lost. I didn't think I'd lose that much time, but yeah, it was just a bad call on my end. But to be honest, I didn't really practice, so it's kind of my fault.
Still kind of worked out for you. Ultimately, you only went down one position for it. Um Technically, I mean, I think,
Yeah,
yeah. So I think you ended up in a good place, regardless. Just very good luck there for you, and preparation for you actually being there to take advantage of it. You held Wid and Yagami off for so long before you actually pitted, though. So I mean, that in and of itself, well done. Like I know this wasn't an easy race, especially you telling us that you hardly practiced. You still ended up on the podium. Like obviously you're some sort of master at Trial Mountain. Please teach me. I want to learn.
I wish I could. This is one of my worst tracks. I don't like Child Mountain. I've never been good at it. I've always
Oh
just been good
man,
enough.
don't say that to me, please. Your performance tonight speaks
No,
otherwise.
no. I mean, I I uh I didn't do too well in the sprint race. I was running late because I didn't actually have a Group 2 livery made, so I was rushing to get in on time. And then once I did get on time, I totally forgot what I was supposed to do in terms of downforce and everything, and I just sort of came in blind, and I couldn't get anything going in the sprint. So I kind of was on the back foot for the future, and I just knew that the dirty air was going to affect anybody behind me. I just hoped that I had enough pace to just drive my normal lines and not have to defend too much. But yeah, no, it was definitely fun. It came around at the end, but yeah, the sprint race was not fun. I just didn't know where I was losing time. I was just nowhere. So it's not the end of the world though. We got what 8 races left in in the series. I don't know how many races we got left on the schedule, but
10 more.
it's a long schedule. There you go.
10 more, yep. And
Yeah, it's a long season. So
if one of your least favorite tracks ends up being a good points haul like this one has, then I have high hopes for you for the rest of the season.
yeah,
Congratulations.
Quick
Hover.
question,
yeah.
Shred. I just wanted to ask
Mm.
you, in that final lap where you saw Yagami get a penalty, what went through your mind, especially beginning that final lap?
Just stay with them and don't make any mistakes. I almost looped the car probably 6 times that race because I was just on that last like 8 or 9 laps because I was pushing so hard. And so I was just praying that I wouldn't make any mistakes and try because I just got past Ensom too because I knew he put it early and I knew he was going to be suffering. So I figured, okay, well I'm around him. Um, but yeah, just stay with him, watch him serve his penalty, and then I knew it was going to be close to the line. And yeah, thankfully I got him.
Yeah, you got
You
a great
definitely,
exit. I'm sorry, I'm not the one who asked the question. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you did amazing work. Call it what you want about him getting unlucky. You put in the work to keep up with him the entire race. You did all the work to get back up to him, and yeah, maybe a bit lucky on the end, but you put yourself into the place to, abuse that luck. So good job on the P3.
Thank you. It was a good race.
Yeah, well,
Good fun. We'll be
see
back.
you
What's the
guys.
next race anyway? I don't even know. I'm gonna check what the next race is. Next race
The
is
next race, give me 1 second. I
Interlagos.
pull that up. Yes, it's Interlagos. We just talked about that.
Oh
It's
Lord.
GR4 is going to be in the GR86 and then GR3 for the feature race.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So thank you guys. Thank you for putting on great races, jumping into these podium interviews with us. We can't wait to see you again in just a couple of weeks here to do this all over again. More racing. Get your practice in, Shred.
I want my crown from McNaughty. I'll be looking in the mail.
We'll send you a Burger King crown.
Perfect.
Perfect. Heard and understood. That's it for us tonight, everyone. McNaughty, is there anything that we need to cover before we go? I can't see the stream anymore.
Thanks.
Have a good night, interviewees. We appreciate you all. We definitely want to thank our sponsors one more time. Give me that sponsor name again, please. Trails and Custom Constructions LLC. Thank you for helping make this possible for us, and we hope to see you guys in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, thank you everyone, and we hope that you had a great time with us tonight. And yeah, next race is Interlagos with a lot of the same names, a lot of the same drivers. It's gonna be a fun round, and I hope you guys don't miss it.